Hello, hello, and welcome, welcome. Great to see everybody out there, Facebook land, YouTube land. So today we are going to talk about how do we teach our children about God? So that's the question for you is, how do you teach or talk to your children about God? And do you have challenges with that? Or does it even come up in your mind? That's the question for you today. How do we talk to our children about God? How do we talk about spirituality? That's what we're here today to talk about. I'm Reverend Lisa Williams, and I'm here to share some wonderful information with you about tools and techniques on how to talk to your children about spirituality. So welcome to New Thought Media Network, and we are here to support you and uplift you with lots of wonderful messages and all kinds of great things. So we're here to talk today about, first of all, I'd like to talk about my inner dazzle and your inner dazzle. So you ask, what is your inner dazzle? Our inner dazzle is that most wonderful, heart-centered self that is connected, that is peaceful, that is in harmony. It is that part of you that lives in authenticity and that knows how to be your true self. That is our inner dazzle. So we're here today to connect to that part of yourself. And there are lots of tools and techniques that I like to teach you that bring us closer to our divine self, to our inner self. That's what we're here to talk about today. So welcome. Today is March 31st, 2021. I always like to fit that in there. Make sure I get the dates in there. So the challenge is, how do we talk to our children about spirituality? So the question is, do they believe in God even though they can't see it or touch it? That's the thing that I have noticed about. I did youth ministry with one of my churches, New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living, and for many years, 10 to 12 years, and then I was a part of Mile High Church's youth ministry for 20 years. So I dealt a lot with children of all ages. So with little kids like ages 4 to 8, sometimes they have a difficult time with the concept of what God is or who God is. And so they need something more tangible. They need like a way to experience or connect to God, to connect to that higher source. So something that I read, this lady talks about, and she says, until the age of 6 or 7, Elkind says, most children lack an understanding of an abstract belief. Therefore, they can't conceptualize the differences between religious ideas. They can appreciate religious symbols and rituals, but won't connect them necessarily to the notion of an invisible God. So when we think about that, we talk to kids, well, what is God? Ask them when they're little, they're so cute. They have all kinds of ideas of what that is. So what I discovered over the years is that by having it be more of an experiential type of experience for kids, they can learn to connect to God, connect to that higher source. And I was also reading another article, and it talked about that the percentages of children that get spirituality and some type of foundational faith from a small age on up, you see that there's a lot less problems with them down the road as they turn into teens or young adults. There's less chance of alcoholism, drug use, any kind of harm to themselves or others. We find that all those things become lacking when they have some type of spiritual background or some type of faith or a connection to a higher power. So that's why it's so important that we teach kids and we teach ourselves, what is that spirituality? What does that look like? So some of the things that we did in youth church, in our youth and family programs, we would have them do many different things. One is, if you see behind me here, we have a beautiful mandala. And so we actually would have the kids color mandalas. And that's actually a great exercise for any age. So I invite you to try that out. You can print them off and get them, and it's great. So yeah, this is my tip. This will be the tip. Sorry. Tip number 1. So we have experientials for children. You're going to have them color mandalas. Another great way is to do a drumming circle. And the cool thing is you can find any instruments around your house, which actually makes it really fun and creative. Do a drumming circle with your kids. You can get your wooden spoons and your pots and pans, and everybody's going to drum together. And you can actually go to a drumming circle, like a real one as well. It's a great way to connect yourself and connect your children to that vibration. It's feeling that vibration within your heart and your soul, and children know how to connect to that. So that's a great way to do it, through drumming circle. Another way would be, number 3 is clay shapes. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with either silly putty, like us that are my age and older. We know silly putty. That was what we played with as kids. It was a great way to use their little hands and get them molding and making shapes, different shapes and sizes. One of the great things we did was we created different shapes, and we talked about that God comes in all shapes and sizes, meaning, a tangible feeling of shapes and sizes, as well as ourselves. And we talk about the kids being all different shapes and sizes, and that we come in all different shapes and sizes, and we are all connected to God. We're connected to that divine source. So that is a great way to do that. You can connect with nature. Of course, I think many of us know that connecting with nature is a great way to experience God, experience a higher power, experience some type of a connection. A walk in nature is always a great way to have kids connect with that divine source. We did spend time at Mile High Church going on many walks, and we would hike and look and see. You're going to notice the sky, you're noticing the trees, you're noticing the little bugs and the ants and all the small things that are crawling around. And little kids are great at finding and noticing all of that. So it's a great way to celebrate with them the idea of the connection of God, connecting to that higher source through nature. And then I use water is another great way to connect with nature. It's just got that soothing sound. It can either be a sound, you can play the sound when you're doing the mandalas. Also, like on a walk or a hike, you might come across a small stream or a river. And it's one of my favorite, it's actually one of my most favorite ways to connect to my inner dazzle, my inner source, as well as connect to that higher power, is through water. Water is a beautiful conduit, and it's a very calming conduit. So I highly suggest that. You can also I have a great little water fountain in my kitchen. It's actually for my cats. It's their water bowl, but it also works for me as a soothing mechanism to center myself. So those are some great, great tips and techniques for you to teach your children spirituality through experientials, through tangible types of means. Those are great ways to teach your kids. So let's see. Does anybody have any ideas or any questions? Any ideas, any thoughts? Let's see. Oh, there's Wayne. Hi, Wayne. Oh, hi. Good to see you guys. Hi, Diego. Nice to see you as well. Thanks for being here, guys. Yeah, so any ideas or thoughts, we take them. We appreciate them. So moving on. So the second thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is you can teach spirituality to kids, any age really, littles all the way up through teen, young adult. You can teach them through rituals and through spiritual practice. And as many of you know that you've been following me, we have been talking about creating sacred space and creating our spiritual practices and how important those are in our lives. This last month, we spent the entire month going through several different ideas of different styles of spiritual practices that you can do, as simple as a prayer before bed. We did some other wonderful techniques on how to create more spiritual practices in your life. Even if, the point I made was, even if it's only 5 minutes a day, just go for it. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes before bed. Simple. Get your point across. Get yourself aligned so that you can start your day with ease and grace and a great attitude. Experience more peace and harmony in your life, which is what we all need and we all want more of. So if you start your day from a centered perspective, you are guaranteed to experience more of that. So let's see, what else did I have? Okay, so I have a quote for you. So the quote that I found, I came across this quote by Katie, I think it's Katie Abel is her name. And she says, don't minimize the importance of rituals in the home. Research shows that home-based practices, whether it's prayers at bedtime or lighting a candle, can have a great impact on a child's development and faith. So that is, so important, even if it's something simple as that. So a thing that I also came up with, so this would be tip number 2 for you. Tip number 2 is to create consistent bedtime schedule for those kiddos that are, well, really any age. I've done that with little, now she's 12. So creating a consistent bedtime schedule is super important. I don't know of any of you that are parents or moms, dads, grandparents. You'll see a huge difference if you take the time to create a bedtime schedule, bedtime routine. Let's see. Yes. Thank you, Wayne. So the next one is, you're creating relaxation time. So the nice thing about this is creating that consistent bedtime schedule is when you create time to relax, you are really setting yourself up to have a really restful night of sleep. I think that's just so important to create that time of relaxation in your schedule. So as we slow down our days, we put our phones away, we put our TV away, we just shut all of the electronics off and just have some relaxation time. It's time for you. It allows your body and your mind and your spirit to just bring itself down a notch from a busy day. It's a great way to just begin to center yourself into a wonderful evening. And creating a bedtime routine can be something as simple as, when we're tucking them in, or whether you tuck them in still or not, your kids, we do a prayer. So example would be my daughter and I, we still do a great little prayer. She's 12 now. And so she's, wanting a little more independent. So I don't, I used to just hop in bed and we'd snuggle. And so we don't do that anymore, but I still spend the time, and we have a regular prayer that we do every evening. So that's just something that's so important and helpful. Let's see, the next one would be so you're allowing for connection with your kids, and that's such a beautiful opportunity, connecting to our children, because they grow quick, and you got to enjoy the time that you have with them while they're younger, and really take that opportunity to connect with your kids. And then the greatest number 4 that I found over time is then you have mommy time. Yay! Mommy time or daddy time, time to just chill and relax and bring yourself down a notch so that you can then have a restful sleep. So important to take that a little bit of time for yourself in the evening before you go to bed. Even if you have children, it's so important to create that space and allow yourself that time to create and connect with yourself, with your inner self, your inner dazzle. Because we often find as parents, I'll speak for myself, that over time, when I didn't take time to do that, it caused me, irritation, frustration, not being able to come from a really patient place. So taking that time for yourself is definitely important and needed. So I invite you to try that tonight. Even if it's 5 minutes, just take that time for yourself after the kiddos go to bed. Take that time for you to connect with your inner dazzle, your inner self, reconnect with the truth of who you are. That's so important. So I have another thing that I loved to do is I have a children's book that my daughter and I co-authored, and it is called 4 Fabulous Fairy Tales and Mindful Mini Meditations. And this beautiful little children's book, it works for kids generally 4 to 8 years old. And my daughter and I wrote this book back when she was about 5 when we started writing this book. And it's got some beautiful stories in there. There's stories of self-love. There's a story of unconditional love. There's a story about compassion. There is a story about kindness. So 4 of the great qualities that, of course, we all need more of. The first story is actually about my daughter. And I love this. I got to just show you the illustrations because it's really cute. She's a princess in the book, but it talks about loving and appreciating all the aspects of herself. We do a story. There's like there's a story, then a mini meditation. So I love that we are able to connect in that way. So let me just read. There's one little part I wanted to just read with you. Yes, and you can connect with me. We can hook you up with a book. Let's see. So she saw a glorious reflection of her lovely face and smiled and said, "I love you." Her reflection said, "You know, Abby Bear, there are many pieces of yourself to love. The happy girl, the sad girl, funny girl and sleepy girl, mad girl and quiet girl, leader and follower. These are just a few of the pieces of yourself, and I love them all." So this is her. She's looking down in the stream in a pond, and she's noticing it and appreciating all aspects of herself. So that's just one of the 4 stories that's in this book. But this book has been a wonderful tool and technique to getting my daughter to bed and getting her to sleep at night. And we read these and worked on these for many years. So again, bedtime routine, a prayer, a story, and then the mini meditation to follow is a great way to get them to center and move themselves into a very peaceful place. So I invite you to pick up one of these books. Definitely check it out, and you will enjoy it. And you can email me if you want, and through my email there, lisa@innerdazzle.com, and I can get you a copy that is signed if you would like. So contact me, and you can also go to my Facebook page. It's Rev Lisa. It's a Rev Lisa page, my Rev Lisa A. Williams, and you can get there and go to the spiritual resource, and I would be happy to hook you up with a copy. It's definitely something worth checking out. Let's see. So what else do I have to share with you guys? So I have a couple more things for you. So the biggest thing, so just to kind of tie all this together as we get ready to kind of wind down. So the outcome of having the time, taking the time to create a spiritual practice for your child, for your children, is definitely, there's just so many benefits to it. So the things that you can do to nurture your child's spirituality, and this comes from a lady, her name is Nancy Montgomery, and I actually found this, an article, and it's through babycenter.com. I came across it, but it's really great. So she has a few points for you. The first one is to clarify. First of all, you're going to clarify your own beliefs. So that's something we can all do and take more time to learn about what is our spirituality and what is our belief about God? What do we believe about it? Because if we can come from a place of centeredness and having some type of spiritual knowingness, I guess I would say, then we can, feel a little more equipped to talk with our kids about it. Because I know for a lot of people that it is a challenge at home, and we've all been at home over a year now and dealing with the pandemic. So there has been no taking your children to church and just drop them off in the youth ministry and let them deal with it. Now it's time for us to deal with it and actually take the time to talk with our children about it and just discover what it is for them, what's going on with them. And what is Wayne? Wayne's saying ice cream every day. Okay, sounds good, Wayne. You can find God in ice cream, right? So the other thing, introduce your kids early on to spirituality, even if it's as simple as that bedtime prayer. Excuse me. You can even Google it, and you can find some simple prayers, like the "Now I lay me down to sleep." So there's some really sweet ones, but with better words. The third one would be, don't pretend to have all the answers, because we don't have all the answers. And even as a youth minister, and I've been doing this for 20, 30 years, kids are great because they ask all kinds of questions. They are so wonderfully inquisitive. So it's always good to keep open to what they have to ask, what they want to know. I think it's important. So stay open to their questions. That's the next thought I wanted to mention. So stay open to their questions. And then, of course, practicing daily, that is the next biggest piece. And, I've had to catch myself when I would skip it in the morning, just get out of bed and you just race out the door and you're on your way to wherever you're going to work and school and everything. I'm finding myself saying, hey, whoa, I got to take time to do my spiritual practice. And I like that my daughter can see it because I'm down in the living room. I have a special chair, created my sacred space, as we talked about a few weeks ago. That is my sacred space. And I can sit there and I do my meditation, 5 minutes, breath work, little yoga stretching, and then I can be on my way. So when they watch you, they're definitely inquisitive and they want to know what's going on. So by you doing a form of spiritual practice, they can see you and they will learn from you. So that's the biggest thing. Kids learn by watching us. So be aware of that. Definitely. Well, they can be annoying at times, Wayne, but we love them regardless. So I would say, let's see, what else? So nature, of course, I mentioned nature is another way to really nurture their spirituality. And it's good for all of us. It's good for anybody. Take the time to do it. Take the time to do it. Take the time to go outside. Wayne, you got to go outside and enjoy the day. Hopefully you're having good weather in Canada. I don't know what it's like right there now. And then creating family traditions. That would be something that only you would know what that is. And again, you can even Google that and find out what traditions you can create. For my daughter and I, it's definitely before bed. We used to read the story, and now we just do our prayer. And so that's a great tradition that we have that I hope we'll have for her entire life, even as she grows into a young adult. Hopefully we'll still have that prayer tradition with us. I think that's just so important, and it really anchors them, because what that does is it teaches them that, there are some things that are consistent. And as we as parents or grandparents, aunts, uncles, it's so important for us to be consistent with the things that we teach them like that, because it can really anchor them and center them into a peaceful, trusting, happy way of living. I think that's important. And then, of course, make it fun. That's the biggest thing for me. You got to make it fun, especially for kids. And the good thing about kids is they make it fun regardless, because they have such sweet little natured souls. They just express how they express, and that makes it definitely fun and enjoyable. So do you have any thoughts or any questions you want to share? I definitely always am open to that. And you can certainly email me those questions. You can send me an email at my Lisa@InnerDazzle, Lisa@InnerDazzle.com. You can send me an email there, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have. I think that's important. So let's see, what else do we have? So I have one more quote that I want to share with you. Yeah, so there's my email. I'll leave that up for a minute if you want. I want you guys to definitely email me and ask me any questions, anything, or share any challenges or things that you have going on with your kids in regards to teaching them or learning about spirituality, or even if it's on your own. I'm happy to discuss that with you. I'm here for you for that. So I have one more quote that I thought was really sweet that I'm going to read first, and then we're going to talk about YouTube. So my last quote is, and I call this my drop of dazzle, because I always like to end with a really special quote. And this I found, and it's really sweet because it had a picture of a sweet little Indian baby in the little papoose. You know how they used to bundle them up in those? And it says, grown men can learn from very little children, for the hearts of little children are pure. Therefore, the Great Spirit may show them things in which older people might miss. And that's by Black Elk. I just thought that was such a wonderful little quote. So yes, so I would like for you to definitely subscribe to my, go to YouTube if you're not already on there, and go to Inner Dazzle LLC. It's just all one, it's all connected. Go to YouTube, Inner Dazzle LLC, and connect and subscribe there, because I have lots of wonderful tools for you there, spiritual tools and techniques. You can also connect with me on Facebook. It's really important that you go in there and connect with me there. And I also list and show all of we have daily prayers, as I am a part of the prayer team here at New Thought Media Network. So you can find me on Rev Lisa page, spiritual resource, if you have any questions or you need support. So you can also subscribe to New Thought Media Network, and that would be super fantastic. And then, of course, I would like for you to go to New Thought Media Network or go to ntmedia.org and click donate. We appreciate all of your input, all of your tithes and your blessings. Send them our way. So go to ntmedia.org and click donate. If you would like to support our ministry, New Thought Media, we are growing, and there's lots of wonderful resources on there for you to support you. We have lots of different types of prayers and techniques and all kinds of wonderful things that you can learn about your spirituality and how to connect to your inner dazzle. So let's see, what else do we have? So today I want you to know that it is a celebration of you. Today is about celebrating you. It is celebrating your personal power. Yes, support the talent. Thank you, Wayne. Yeah, I like that. Let's see, where is that? Thanks, Wayne. Oh, you're so wonderful. So it really is about supporting you and being here to be, connected to you and to help you connect to your divine self. So there's my book, 4 Fabulous Fairy Tales. And so at the end, I always like to say, leave them dazzled, leave them dazzled. And also for next week, we are going to talk about, we have a new book. We're starting a whole new series in April. And this is I just didn't have a picture of this one to post. Return to the Sacred, Ancient Pathways to a Spiritual Awakening. And this is by Jonathan Ellerby. He is a PhD in this. So we are going to go into the 12 paths, 12 master paths and spiritual practices. So I'm really excited to do that with you. I'm actually hosting a book club right now, and we are talking about and reading about the spiritual practices. And we may have him as a guest. So that is my hope down the road here, a little further on in May. So this is going to be super fantastic. Wayne, we always hold your hand. You're always here, and we support you. Okay, guys. So thank you very much for being with me today. So I'll look forward to next week. We will be talking about a return to the sacred. We're going to move into some spiritual practices, which I'm really excited to talk to you guys about. Thank you so much for being with me today. And as I mentioned before, leave them dazzled by your presence. Thank you and blessings, and have a blessed day.
Wanna play? Come to our yard. New Thought Media Network spotlights you. Saturdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, Spirit Says Sing. Our stage is open for musicians, singers and speakers, visual artists. Shine with us, live. It's easy, just click the link in the comments and be ready to soar. Spirit Says Sing.